Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Kilted Cajun and this is a review of Star Wars Andor Episode 4. I'm not I keep wondering how to do my different reviews, whether I do screenshots, share the video, if I share the video as I'm jumping ahead a minute here, a minute there, get too far ahead. I'm still kind of new to this, so I'm just gonna, well, of course, if I share the video, I have to run the risk of getting hit with copyrights and stuff, and I really don't want to do that. So basically, I'm just going to share this one little title screen and just kind of, oh, let's hide that, and just kind of leave it at that. There we go. So we're watching Andor episode 4. The way I'm going to break the reviews down, they jump around. The episodes jump around from one group to another group and back and forth and like little 5 to 10 minute little snippets. If I were to review it as it happens, this would be so jumbled I wouldn't be able to keep track of anything. So I'll focus on one snippet at a time. First and foremost, again, I'm still enjoying this despite the someone talking about the character of Mon Mothma is the Nancy Pelosi of Andor. I'm like, could you possibly make your promotional material or your promotion of this show any worse than that? Regardless of what you think, if when you're going to turn off so many people with just that statement. Thankfully, I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot, but I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to watch the show for what it is. And I'm enjoying it. I'm genuinely enjoying it. I feel so good to be able to say that. Some criticism that I've seen in other reviews, I'm not going to fault them. They find it to be slow and boring, and I find it to be. I mean, it is slow. There's no denying it's slow. But I'm not looking for action here, action there. There was absolutely no action in this episode. This was strictly 100% storytelling. Critical Drinker talked about each scene and the qualities, what makes it a good scene. And one of the qualifications is it important to the story? Does it move the story forward? I find that the vast majority of scenes that I watched moved the story forward. They introduced a couple of new characters, Mon Mothma being one of them, and another, Deidre. They introduced Deidre, an Imperial officer. Deidre gotta screw that up. Deidre, a female Imperial officer who's trying to rise up in the ranks. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not really a spoiler. If you've watched it, if you haven't, whatever. If you haven't watched it, you're waiting for other reviews. I say watch it. If you watch the first three, watch this one. You'll enjoy it. Let's start talking about it. So, of course, we start off with intro. The intro. Oh boy. Recap of the last episode doesn't even talk about episode 1 and 2. Strictly recaps the situation on Ferrix, where Luthen shows up to pick Cassian Andor up, and the little incident with Captain Tryhard, Cyril Karn. So we'll go over Cassian and his little story arc real quick. Cassian's on the ship with Luthen. That's how we open up. And they're discussing whether or not Cassian's going to be dropped off somewhere to run for the rest of his life, or if he actually wants to join the so-called rebellion. There's some dialogue back and forth. Cassian acts like he's never seen hyperdrive before, so maybe that's something. They give a little insight to his backstory. He fought in this war, and come to find out that they were fighting themselves. And Luthen comes out with, "No, you were only down there for 6 months, and you were a cook." And to show, Luthen shows how much he's looked into Cassian, that he's a very knowledgeable character and intent on what he does, and not, lets Cassian know that that's why he went to Ferrix, not to get the little box, but he went there to get Cassian to try and fight the Empire. They land on a planet that I can't remember what the name of the planet is, to meet with the leader of the rebellion on that planet for some plan. And come to find out, there's a disagreement between Luthen and the woman on this little insertion of Cassian. Um, Walking back, she agrees, and uh, Luthen leaves to go off to Coruscant, and we'll get to him in a minute. So there's a little dialogue back and forth. The woman, they walk back to their camp. They do show two TIE fighters, which was kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. The little kid came out of me because it's a very distinct sound that the TIE fighters make when they're flying, whether it's in atmosphere or not. But yes, they definitely caught the sound, so that felt good. That was a happy moment for me. They make it back to their camp, and the other members of the resistance were definitely not happy to see Cassian, because apparently they have some little plan to attack a garrison in 3 days. And all of a sudden, Cassian is uh, this new little member of their group that they have to insert him in somehow. Obviously, most of them don't trust Cassian. They want to know why he's there, and most of the actions and the dialogue at the little rebel camp are concerning getting Cassian up to speed. And they show him the plan and how they're going to do this and how they're going to do that. Cassian thinks they're crazy, but when they go more into the plan of why it's so meticulous, of some astrological event taking place in 3 days that will provide them cover, they're pretty much, this is a bank heist. That's the big deal with this episode, is a bank heist. Planning and execution of a bank heist. They're going to steal the Imperial payroll. So I guess that's what they're going to use to fund their little rebellion. And that's how the episode ends. Talking, Cassian going over the plans and the map and all this other shit that this for the loader that he has to drive. That's pretty much it for them. After that, let's go to Luthen. After leaving Cassian, he returns to Coruscant, and it shows you a little insight of what kind of character he is. He is a spy. He is fluent in disguises and um, acting as a different character. He puts on a nice little wig, changes his outfit, and lands on Coruscant. On Coruscant, he runs this little, not really a thrift store, more of an artifact store. And his customer that shows up in this episode is none other than Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma comes into the episode. There's some dialogue between Luthen and Mon Mothma. Just, it's obviously meaningless dialogue to put on a show. Mon Mothma's driver, they notice Luthen and his, I guess, not secretary, but assistant at the store, notices that her driver is new, so they realize something's going on immediately. They figure out a way to distract the driver so that Luthen and Mon Mothma can go in the back and have their own little private discussion. Their discussion is about money and finances, and they go back and forth of who's in more danger, and how every time Mothma turns around, there's someone new. There's someone new in the council. There's someone new that's always around her, as if to hint that. Well, obviously, it doesn't really hint. She says that she feels like she's in danger, that everyone's watching them, and she reiterates the whole point of she is the one that will fall the hardest should everything go south. Luthen brings up finances and how they need to finance their little rebellion. After that little fake discussion and everything, they leave, and hints are made, and Mothma goes back to her home, to her husband, where it's found out that there is a little dinner party planned for them. That they have a little argument back and forth because she didn't remember it happening, and she looks at the guest list, and it's different politicians that don't like her, and they go back and forth. I guess this is to establish that she is having trouble with the council, in different trade routes and everything that she tries to do. These other members are always trying to stop her. You know, unfortunately, Mothma and her husband they argue. Excuse me. They argue back and forth, and they have little, I guess, little husband and wife banter before she leaves and goes back. And that's the last we see of Mon Mothma. Uh, on to the Empire. When we enter, what's her name? Deidre. Deidre. They show Deidre on course. I think it's on Coruscant. Is it on Coruscant? The Security Breach Bureau. Deidre is a member of the that's a mouthful. Security Breach Bureau. They have a little meeting discussing different briefing concerning problems here and there, and Morlana 1 and Ferrix are mentioned. And that piques Deidre's interest, after their discussion. So later on, come to find out that the little box that Cassian had stolen originally was from Deidre's jurisdiction. She feels the need that gives her a right, because the box was stolen from her jurisdiction, that she would be able to investigate in the Ferrix jurisdiction. She sends her little lackey to request the information, and of course, he's denied. Now, and when Deidre goes to the Imperial in charge of the Ferrix jurisdiction, she's denied again, for the third time, actually, which leads her and the other Imperial officer to go to whoever's in charge of the Security Bureau and discuss it back and forth. And of course, yet again, she is denied. Now, some people could see this, though, she's a strong female character. They're trying to push her up, and others could see this as, oh, they're just pushing her down because she's a woman. It's like, no. They make a note that she's only been there for a year. She is a lower ranking officer than the other inquisitor, the other security guy. So it's seen as, I see it, now this is just me, I see it as they see her as she's trying to excel in the ranks. She's trying to learn how to fly before she learns how to crawl. She was selected for a particular reason because she has that drive, she has that want, but she needs to get there. Obviously, she's not too fond of that. She feels like, I think the actress even said it, that she feels like she's surrounded by moronic men, lazy men. I didn't see that in the acting of the other men on the bureau. They follow the rules. They're not slacking. They're not lazy. They're just following the protocol that they're supposed to, based on their rank. Decisions are made based on tenure, based on rank and experience. And honestly, I don't see a problem there. Obviously, Deidre does. But I think it sets up. This is what I like especially about it. I'm going to get to that. Hold on. Let me finish. So, the last thing, we don't see all that much of Cyril, Captain Tryhard. Cyril Karn. Now, his story is one of failure, abject failure, because his commanding officer on Ferrix, as well as the brick shithouse that was helping him, they are reprimanded, and it kind of looks like they are removed from their position, sent home packing. And there's a he has one, like, Cyril has one line of dialogue, I think, in this entire episode. That's when he goes home to see his mother. He says, "Mother." That's it. That's the only thing he says. But what I like about it is his facial expressions. It's almost it's I mean, maybe I was seeing something that wasn't there, but I genuinely feel like if you look close enough, there's just different the emotion in his face, or I guess lack thereof, almost seeing, again, I could be seeing things, um, the lonesome failure of what he did. He felt like he was doing something, and it ended in tragedy, the death of multiple soldiers, security guards, or whatever they're called on the planet. which forced the Empire to come in and take over 100%. He lost everything. What is he going to do about it? At one point, he goes home, lands on Coruscant, and it's probably 3 to 5 minutes of just him walking. One could see that as boring and meaningless. Absolutely. I couldn't disagree too much with that. But if I don't know, maybe again, I could be looking into this too far. I could be giving the Disney writers way too much credit with this, but he's walking from pretty much I guess the starport all the way back down different corridors, down an elevator, upstairs, downstairs, down a hallway, utterly alone, completely and totally by himself, no words, no nothing. Giving the benefit of the doubt or giving the Disney writers way too much credit, I kind of saw it as just a clear indication, a visual representation of his failure. That he has to go home to mommy, who slaps him in the damn face and then gives him a great big hug. She must, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to get canceled. Um, and that's the only thing he does in this story. He gets fired, stripped of his rank. I'm assuming that's what happens, and gets sent home to mommy because he has nothing else. He is completely and utterly alone, an abject failure after what he did in the previous episode. And I am genuinely curious as to what's going to happen. Is there going to be some sort of bad guy redemption for him? Is he going to go after Cassian? And I think that's what I do enjoy about the slow burn episodes like this. We got introduced to a new character in Deidre or Dedra, Deidre. We're gonna go with Deidre because I can't remember what her commanding officer said or senior officer, whatever. It introduces her, shows her that she is a bit nervous, so you assume that she's new. I believe the other guy said that she had only been there for about a year. She has an idea, she puts it forth, gets shot down, and isn't happy about it. So you see some motivation there. She wants to rise up in the ranks. It's obvious there. She feels like she has a job to do, and she feels like someone's getting in the way. So more than likely, I hope that this is going to be a decent beginning of a story arc for her. Cassian, well, Cassian was just kind of there. He, I hate to say it, but I'm not sure on the emotional part of his character. He seems to be almost a placeholder. I hate to say this. I'm liking the show, and Cassian Andor is the last reason why I'm enjoying the show. I don't think he's doing a bad job. He's portraying his character. He's oh no. I hope people are probably going to see him as a copy of Han Solo because he is a reluctant hero. He's going to be the reluctant hero. He doesn't want to be there. He's doing it for money. And I don't think I have a problem with that. He's there. He's there to help move the plot forward. Hopefully, maybe in episode 5, with the heist, the little bank heist, they'll show his intelligence and ingenuity, his quick thinking, to help them. Because I predict it's going to go south in a horrible way. There's no reason to think that the heist is going to go off 100% as planned. People are going to die. They only have 7 or 8 people, I figure at least 2 of them are going to die. Cassian's going to have to make a choice, think quickly to get them out of there, maybe even without the payload. We'll see. It gave you a little bit of insight into Mon Mothma's character. She's scared. She's worried that people are catching on to her. Um, and but she still feels like she has a job to do as far as forming the rebellion and moving forward with it. It gives him a little bit more insight into Luthen's character. He's not just a buyer looking for something. He seems to be a decent enough spy to hide in the middle of Coruscant, but who knows? Again, a lot of this speculation on my part could be wishful thinking, giving Disney the benefit of the doubt. But you know what? After these first four episodes, I am legitimately willing to do that, despite some of the hot garbage that came before this. I will say the CGI, the settings now on being on Coruscant, the sounds were great. The work on the guns for the rebellion. I think they could have tried a little bit harder to make them more blaster like, more alien like, instead of just AK-47s. But, I understand that the guns from the original trilogy were nothing more than repurposed and refurbished real world weapons. But I think they did a better job with the practical effects on those guns in the original trilogy than they did in this episode of Andor. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So we met Deidre, Security Breach Bureau. We went over Cyril and his unfortunate journey. Bix was not in this. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're going to go back to Ferrix, especially since the Empire is taking over there, and Deidre is interested in looking into it. So I have no doubt she's going to play a part later on in the series. We talked about the rebels. There's only 7 or 8 of them. It's a small group, but maybe that's what's necessary for them to do what they do. Uh, and yeah, it was a lot of storytelling. I do believe the vast majority of the scenes were, I guess I wouldn't say important, but they played a part in moving the story along and showing who the characters are and where they are in the universe at this time. I'm I said this before and I'm going to say it again. Like, how do we get this from Disney? And Kenobi was an abomination. She-Hulk is an abomination, and now we have this. There's almost a part of me that thinks, is it a hit or miss with Disney Plus when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars? Because if that's the case, there have been numerous misses with Marvel that perhaps Daredevil Born Again will be good. I'm not holding my breath on that one, but back to Star Wars. I'm enjoying this. It feels good to be enjoying a Disney Star Wars product, a Star Wars product in general. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm looking forward to reviewing the show. Let me know what you think. If you like what I had to say, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, beg, 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 baby. If you didn't like what I have to say, if you have a discussion or argument, shit post it in the comments, leave a dislike, leave a like if you so choose to. I hope to see you on the next